lost to the Chiefs on that penalty that put KC into field goal range, Germaine Pratt gave teammate Joseph Ossai an earful heading into the locker room. Take a listen. Yesterday, Pratt apologized and said he was wrong for calling out his teammate. Shannon, you were very critical of this to begin with. Yeah. What's your reaction to Pratt's latest?
I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he's mad enough to admit that he was wrong. And that's what we need to get into the line. When you say something, you do something wrong to someone, just apologize. Don't be too big. Don't be too proud to say, I'm sorry. And I'm glad that he did that because he was absolutely wrong in this case. I understand, Skip, the sports and sometimes life, things get very emotional. And you go over the edge. And at that moment, you're like, this is how I'm feeling. You sit back and you think about it like, damn, why'd I do that, man? Me and that man, we done played 18, 19 games together. We done sweat together. We done bled together. We done cried together. Man, I can't leave this man out there on the island by himself because it's like we lost this game solely on that last play. There were other opportunities in that game that we could have made a play that could have impacted the game, and it didn't even come down to this. But yet, here we are. So I was glad he did it. I love what his teammate B.J. Hill did beside Ossai. Stood beside him. Right beside him. And make sure that any questions that, well, nah, you don't need to answer that. We're going to move it along. I love that about him. I love that about this team. I love how they came together. It wasn't Pratt, Germaine Pratt. Yeah. It wasn't his finest moment. No. But it wasn't life or death. He admitted he was wrong. He apologized. They're going to be better for it. I love this.
First thing you have to remember, as you always point out, there are cameras and microphones everywhere. How many times did that happen in your playing days with the locker room door shut and somebody yelled at somebody else and maybe you stepped in and said, no, it's okay, let it be.
Right.
But it didn't get out there like that got out there, right? So you have to be cognizant that you're always on camera and mic'd.
Yes.
Okay. Germaine Pratt's been a very good player for them. He's becoming a free agent. He made that might have been his last play and last game that
in Cincinnati. Correct.
Cincinnati. He was screaming the emotions of many of us out there in TV land because I was having the same emotions about Joseph Ossai. But I'm not going to scream it at him, and I'm not going to come in here and take it out on him on national TV because, by all accounts, he's a good kid, and he works hard, and he plays too hard, and he went over the edge. He just tried too hard.
Correct.
He had some plan in the back of his head. I got to get him going backward out of bounds because if you do, the clock won't stop.
Right.
And you're way late in executing your plan because he's clearing the bench area. He's about out of the white area, right? So here you come, and we all felt the same thing as I was rooting for Burrow in Cincinnati, and I'm sure Bengals Nation felt the same thing. How could you? Because it's one of those boneheaded gaffes. It lost the game because you're sitting looking at a 60-yard field goal that I doubt he could have made. They might have tried it, but all of a sudden
because you're going to drive, Skip, because in that weather you're going to probably have to drive it, which means it's going to be a little low. And now you worry about the double thud and them picking the ball ball up and going back, and you don't want to lose a game like that.
No, you don't. It became a makeable 45, and to his credit, he nailed it. He nailed it.
Yep.
Right down Broadway. So all of a sudden, the attention shifts back to a game that looked like it had overtime written all over it, and we all wanted to see. Let's see who wins the coin flip. Let's see what Mahomes does. Let's see what Burrow does, because now you got two of the best young gun quarterbacks.
Because guess what, Skip? It's going to be the first time, remember, the playoff implementation. Everybody gets to touch the ball, no matter what transpires.
No matter what, thanks to Mahomes and Josh Allen last year. Okay. All that is hanging in the balance, and it drops on this kid's head. And then it got exacerbated by him screaming at the kid, and his emotions were real and true, and that's what he believed at that moment. But unfortunately, the whole world got to hear and see it, and it's just horrible.
That's normally what fans yell.
That would be a fan. It was almost like a fan's comment.
But you're not a fan, you're a teammate. So you have to balling up. But his emotions got the best of him. But I still, like I said, Skip, I was glad Germaine Pratt came back and like, I'm sorry, bro.
He did.
I was wrong.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good for the team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope somebody gave Joseph Ossai a big hug or two after that game, guys.
Yep.
All right, Kyrie, gentlemen, is he already working on a path, a plan to get back to playing with LeBron?
No,
Let's unpack the possibility when we come back on FS1. Kellen Moore, he agreed to terms with the Chargers. Don't forget, Moore's departure from Dallas is being called mutual. Shannon, what does this tell you that the Cowboys moved on from Kellen Moore and the Chargers snapped him up so fast?
Well, tell me the Chargers abided by the Rooney Rule. That's what I want you to tell me first. Oh, okay. We'll discuss.
You got me.
Skip, we'll discuss that at another date and time.
Yeah.
The Cowboys keep wondering why. Why did our season end in disappointing fashion? Oh, you think it was because of Kellen Moore? Is that what y'all really think? Y'all really think?
Apparently they do.
So I want to know. Tell me what role the quarterback played. I saw against Washington, 26-6. He was awful. That was awful. And I've been saying since like week 7, week 8, week 9, the Cowboys, if I'm y'all, I want to stay in the 5th spot because I want to get Tampa. That's a bad team. And y'all are set up perfect to beat the brakes off them. True enough, at Holmes Farm, they weren't able to catch the Eagles. Beat the brakes off Tampa Bay. Another bad football team.
How did Kellen's offense look that night?
Dak threw for 300 yards. How many touchdowns? Like 3?
Yeah, had a QBR of 97, scale 0 to 100.
Now,
played the game of his life. I don't know how.
We go to San Francisco.
Yep.
And the final play notwithstanding. I get the final play, lining Zeke up at center. That makes no sense to me. But hell, you ain't got a hillbilly heartbeat chance of winning that game anyway. Skip. Dak was awful. It wasn't the plays that were called. He just flat out threw the ball to the other team. And then when he did have guys open, he overshot them. That's not on Kellen Moore. 4 years that he's been the OC. You're second in points, second in yards to Kansas City. Look at all the quarterbacks in the league over that time. Look at all the offenses, and you're second. And somehow Kellen Moore, because Jerry had these expectations, Jerry Jones has put off. He seemed like he got more expectation for Kellen Moore than he got for his damn quarterback. Because it seems to be at some point in time, you got to come to the realization, it's your quarterback. And in big moments, he hadn't played well. Not well enough. I shouldn't say he hadn't played well, but he hadn't played well enough in those big moments. And that is the difference. What makes quarterbacks top 10 and all these guys is that in big moments, you got to play well. And Dak hadn't played well. Skip, you look at the Eagles. You look at the last 3 teams that represent the NFC in the championship game. What did they do in free agency? Spin out the yin-yang. What did the Eagles do? Go get Hassan Reddick. They go get Bradbury.
They did.
They made they make additions. You look at the Rams the year before. These are effed up picks. The year before that, Tampa. But Jerry, you keep on. But you're gonna learn soon enough. Now, Jason Garrett got gone. Kellen Moore got gone. The one common denominator that's still there is your quarterback. Now, if you don't get it done, who you gonna fire next? Mike McCarthy. Okay. You talking about you gonna call plays, all right?
So, unfortunately, I'm now picking the Los Angeles Chargers to get to the Super Bowl next year. And if they have to go through Arrowhead, I believe they'll do it because I think Kellen Moore, with the change of scenery and a quarterback who, by the way, had the 7th lowest interception rate last year, Justin Herbert, and a running back in Austin Eckler who led the NFL with 18 touchdowns. And
look at those receivers he got: Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. They got a nice core of receivers over there.
They ranked 30th in running the football. Kellen Moore will change that because he's a 50-50. He can be even a little better. He will figure out he will show them how to run the football. It's a match made in Super Bowl heaven. I hate to see him go. I'm shell-shocked and devastated by it, but it is now clear to me that Mike McCarthy won the power struggle with Kellen Moore. Not that Kellen was fighting back. They wanted Kellen to get the Carolina Panthers job because then it would have been a clean out for him, you know.